everyone, my name is Reverend Carole Kiamah, and these are Thoughts of a Shaken Pastor Season 3. In this season, we're talking about going through hard knocks. One of the things that has really bothered me is that there are a lot of people lately who have been walking out of faith, reconstructing, as they call it. People who have known the Lord, have served the Lord for many years, and then they turn around and they denounce that which they believed in vehemently. And that makes me pause and just ask myself, what are some of the things that they could have experienced that would make them feel that this faith is not able to hold them? And as we did our research, we came across people who have gone through extraordinary circumstances, very, very painful things, and yet they have been able to hold on to faith. And so today it gives me an extreme pleasure to introduce Fridah, my friend, as she shares with us her journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Fridah Okello. I'm a mother, a wife, a believer in Jesus Christ. I love Jesus. I've always loved Jesus ever since I was 8, 9 years. So it's been a very interesting journey. And yeah, I work as a travel consultant at Diva Safaris, where we do a lot of women's safaris, weekends, getaways, and such like things.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yes, it is.
So what are some of the things you've done for women exclusively?
We celebrated women in their 40s when they turned 40 some years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, that was one of the greatest things. I also serve in the ministry, ladies ministry in our church. I love being around women, encouraging women, talking to women about women issues.
And maybe that is just to put it out there that actually you were the first person who ever shared with me the story of Jesus. Remember when we were kids?
Yes.
About this man hanging on a cross.
Yes.
Yeah, that was something. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm the fruit of your labor.
Amen.
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 So tell me a little bit about your children.
I have 2 children. Let me say I have 2 live children. We just lost another some years ago. But even before that, I'm a person who's gone through losses. I know, in fact, I was laughing and saying, let me see, I think I've gone through the whole 9 yards. I've known what a miscarriage is. I've known what an ectopic pregnancy is. I've known what do you call this? Giving birth to a dead child. They call it IUFD or something. Yeah, IUFD. What it is like, and I know what a blighted ovum is like. So let's say I've just gone through it all. That's where my story begins. And when I conceived now my firstborn, it was a miracle. I didn't even know I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant, and it's amazing. Because I'm those people, when you do the pregnancy test where you're looking for the lines, I rarely get 2 lines. You know the 2 maroon lines? It is either one faint line, so you're there. Is it not? And of course, the sickness and all. So by the time I was going to hospital to see my doctor, I was almost 11.5 weeks pregnant. And he was shocked because he was like, immediately get pregnant, you come, we prop you,
Because of all the losses.
Because of all the losses. And don't forget, they had really scrapped my uterus, so my uterus was very thin. So their point was maybe it couldn't carry to term, and hence the losses. And they had just removed my tube. And so here I am at 11.5 weeks, and we're like, oh, that's a heartbeat, And the pregnancy progressed well, and my firstborn arrived. Then shortly after, I became pregnant again. That was a pleasant surprise, And my second-born arrived. But from there, we've had also other losses. So straight up to 2019. 2019 was a very good year. Began the year as usual. Not the way you began with resolutions. Like Pastor Carole once told us, you do a resolution the 31st December midnight. By 10 a.m., you've already broken a few. So here I was thinking, I want to take my company to the next level. I even wrote it down. I'm those people who used to write, and And the year began well, honestly. Then the only struggle I had was my dad was sick then, sickly. And so that was the only struggle. We were here, there. But I was so focused. This is what I want to do. Especially when it came to business. In fact, 2019, I was like, take this thing to the next level. So in the middle of the year, I was like, Miscarriage. Then I go to hospital. I mean, I didn't even go to hospital. I did a test, and for the first time, it showed the pregnancy testing kit showed 2 maroon lines. Now I know most people were like, oh yeah, but it's no. For me, this was oh wow, because even with my 2 girls, it didn't show. It didn't show. Okay, the second one, I don't think I did that. Oh yes, I did. But it showed 1 faint line and 1 maroon line. So here for the first time, I see 2 maroon lines. And I was excited and fearful. Fearful because I'm a woman in her 40s. And we've had all these myths. Oh, you're in your 40s. You cannot get a baby. Your eggs are, your eggs are still fresh. And so I was like, oh, okay. And we began the journey. It's amazing because it was one pregnancy that was smooth, I might say. Because even with my previous pregnancies, my 2 girls, I used to spot in between. So I became an expert. I can tell you, a pink spot, that's okay. A brown one, that's fine. A red one, ran to hospital, you know. So I knew them because by then, I don't say I'd become an expert, but I had gone through it. So I know, and I know which ones lead to miscarriages. I just need, I've had many miscarriages. I've had many, I've had quite a few. So here I am, excited, and I'm thinking, okay. So, okay, my plans, my what, I go see my doctor. And I think my doctor panicked. That's what I always like to think, because all of a sudden now she put me on these meds, you know, you're a woman in her 40s, so we need to And a part of me, I was feeling, really just can't go natural. I mean, who says that I'm in that state where I need, but again, I didn't go to medical school for 7 years, so
she probably knows what she was talking
about.
Yeah.
Now, at 12 weeks, was it 12 or 13 weeks, we noticed, it's like this baby has a spot. There's a way they look in their scan, and they're like, okay. So she didn't say much about it. So continued with the pregnancy. It was good. It was fine. Of course, I told my girls we had been praying for another baby. We were actually trusting God for a boy. And I always tell my girls, you know what? God hears our prayers. I've been one person who's had faith all as I'm growing up, you know. So I'm like, God is gonna, this one, God is giving us a boy. And we continued. When I got to 16 weeks, my doctor had to send me for a second opinion. And she was like, there's something I'm seeing here that is not right. And so I'm like, okay, I'm very inquisitive. So just tell me, what do you think it is? And it's like, no, I'm like, you see, this is not the heart. So is it the genitals? Is it the stomach? Is it the lungs? So when we went to do a scan, in fact, I remember I did a more elaborate scan. Not that one that she, and when we checked, we could see this one is something that is near the stomach and the genitals. And then they were afraid, could it be holding the kidneys? Now, you know, they are trying to figure it all out.
Like a growth?
Yeah, it was like a growth, actually. It was like a growth that was somewhere in his small body. It was somewhere in the stomach. You see, now when a child is growing, it looks like one, yeah? So when we did an elaborate thing, we saw, there is, what do you call it? The kidneys are fine. Oh, it's a boy. The parameters are there. We can see them. So they still wondered, where is this thing attaching from? And I remember I had to see one of the professors at Aga Khan, and we had to do a lot of consultations also with this hospital in London. It's called London Fetal Hospital, something like that. And now it became a case. for the doctors, it became a very interesting case because they've never seen this in a boy. Apparently, whatever growth that was, because it looked like a cyst, was more on girls than boys, according to their research. So I became they became very interested in the case and all. But now, this is me. Been trusting God for a boy. Finally have a son. My son is sick. And they were not sure it was going to progress. Because when I asked the doctor, he was like, no, actually, we see it is like 1 in, you know, the way they give those statistics, like 1 in 1,000 or 1. So this was like that 1 in 1,000 kind of case for a boy. But for a girl, apparently, it's common because it's a cyst that grows and it's something that they can remove. So as the pregnancy progressed, I remember the professor told me, you know, this is what we'll do. We'll go up to 34 weeks. Then we remove the baby. Then after a week or so, we operate. So, knowing that you're carrying a sick child is a test on itself, because 2 of the doctors said we have to abort. And I was like, you know what? He who put him there will have to remove him when the time comes, because, there's no way. He knew. This is something that didn't just get God
by surprise,
you know. And it was a very hard moment because I actually I didn't even want us to discuss it now, because, of course, logically, people are like, so what will happen? Will the growth continue growing with the baby? Because the baby was growing fine, but will the growth, will it affect the baby? And I'm like, he who began a good work in me will just have to finish this work. So, and that's where faith comes in, because faith being a substance of what you don't see. So I had to trust that God knows, and God is in the detail. And it's amazing because my child grew normal. You know, the kicks, the turns, the hiccups. So every time I'd go, oh yeah, your baby is fine. But there's this thing. I'm like, okay. There are people who are born with 6 fingers. I wonder, do they feel, is this a 6th finger? I think they just feel it's part and parcel of. So I was thinking maybe even this child would feel this is part and parcel of. So, yeah, and I remember at that time I had, now this is a time you have to know who God is. And when I say that, because you're wondering, really, we've been waiting, we've been praying, you've blessed us with this son, and then it's like, you know, the song, you give and take away. I'm thinking, you give now and you, so where will this end? But I always had hope and faith that my son will make it. And in fact, now I changed my prayer to, you know what, God, you will heal this little guy. I listened to a testimony of one of the singers, and he was saying the way he had a sick child, and they prayed and they trusted, and God came through. And that's why he did the song, God, he'll make a way, you know. So I kept on saying, you know what, God, you'll make a way. Were there days I was frightened? Yes. Were there days I was like, ay, Fridah, kaka faith kako? Yes, my faith was tested, you know, because majority of the people were like, you know, when you sit with doctors, it is even more intimidating. So in fact, there was this conference call we were to do with now, because now you see, now my case was being handled. In fact, the professor had suggested, why don't we take you to London, because they have all this. And I'm like, no, because I felt, why would you just, okay, when you take me there, first and foremost, it's not that it's a scholarship per se to take me there, then why would I just drop everything to go? And this God can't heal. In fact, I remember telling him, you have consulted, and I'm grateful. I've also consulted with a great physician, and I think we'll wait on him. Let's see what he will do. So the waiting game wasn't easy. It was hard. So every day you wake up, you're like, hi, and then it's like, hi, you're there. And my life continued normally. I never shared then with the kids, because then they were just, yay, our baby brother is coming. So fast forward to when I got to 27th week. One fine Friday, I think I had a lot of stress. Was running up and down. I had done an MRI. Oh yeah, they had to do an MRI. And oh, it was so scary. Because you see, after they put you through that thing, they still had to put something here because they need to take the baby and you. So you're inside that thing. And then there's also another thing here. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, anyway, it was such a scary moment. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So they did it. And then I told them I had to clear with my NHIF. So I said, you know what? You stay with the results. I'll come back after I sort out my NHIF. So I go to hospital this Friday to sort out my NHIF because I had to get a letter from a certain hospital, take it to. And when I'm there, the lady, the nurse, you know the way they do triage. So she takes my BP and then she just asks me so casually, do you have high blood pressure problems? I'm like, no. But you see, the truth of the matter is I have never had any blood pressure problems. It never registered that maybe there was a problem. And later on, I was really feeling mad with her because if she had told me there was something, then you see, I would have taken action. And one thing I've come to realize about high blood pressure is it's not painful. So, you know, you won't say I'm in pain or I'm feeling uncomfortable because I was not feeling any of that. So that was on a Friday. On a Saturday, I wake up and I feel something strange. Oh, my baby didn't play today, but I had so much because that weekend was my daughter's birthday. So here I am, I'm trying to coordinate some things. We were to go out for dinner as a family. But at the back of my mind, I started getting worried. Because I was like, no. You know, for a pregnant woman, you know the times that your child plays. I mean, your child can't just sit. There's a way. And it was silent. I was like, okay. So towards evening, I texted my doctor. I was like, it's been quiet in there. You know, so she tells me, okay. Oh, I texted her now Sunday morning. So Saturday we went for dinner. But at the back of my mind, I was feeling something is not right. Something is not right. And I'm like, okay, God, what do I do? Something is not right. And it was such a nagging feeling. It's amazing because I didn't even pray. I didn't even pray about it. I was like, something is not right. So I went, Sunday morning we woke up, went to church. But as I went to church, I remember telling my husband, let's drop the kids. I go to hospital. I just need to check on my pressure. I've never had any high blood pressure issue, but I could say this is the Holy Spirit to say, just check your pressure, check your pressure. So we checked. I think I went to these mobile clinics. None of them were opened because it was early Sunday morning. Then he said, you know, why don't you just go to a hospital? So by then I texted my doctor. I was like, here, something is not right. So he's like, you go to a hospital. Let me know which hospital you're going. So we go to the hospital and of course they check and they were like, oh, wow, your pressure is very high. I'm like, what do you mean my pressure is high? She's like, yeah. So the doctor who was seeing me was like, okay, can I have your doctor's number? So now it was doctor to doctor. And all this time I'm wondering, I just want you to tell me why my baby is not playing. Me, I really don't care about the pressure part because now that's where now I was like, you know, you have that feeling. So checked, I think I was given some meds. So now it became like an emergency of let's try and control this pressure. And I'm asking them how? To relax. I'm like, I've relaxed. Oh, how else do you relax, you know? So anyway, after a while, they're like, you know what, we need to do a scan. So I'm like, yeah, that is what I want. I just want to check that everything is okay. So by then, my heart rate was also very, very high.
And how many weeks was this?
This was 27 weeks. I was heading to the 7th month. Actually, I was starting the 7th month. So in my heart, there's a lady we were working with. She was also pregnant with me at the same time. So I remember texting her on my way to hospital. I'm like, you know what, pray. Because I can't pray. I'm not able to pray. You pray, I'm going in, something is wrong. And so she says, okay, I'm praying, don't worry, everything will be okay. And I go, of course, the scan. I was there with my husband. And it was silent. You know, there's that thing you listen.
The silence.
So you're like, okay. So I looked at this guy and they were just doing all these things. And I could tell, honestly, he tried. I think later on thinking about it, I think he was just trying to, oh God, how do I tell her this? How do I tell her this? So he just told me, you know what, I'm sorry. And I didn't even wait for the next, because I mean, after I'm sorry, it's not like, oh, I'm sorry, he's alive. No. And at that moment, I think my world crashed.